Here today with the blue Porsche 911 SC, and we're going to be doing the brake caliper refurb. So yeah, let's see how we go on.
Right, okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to change the brake caliper seals on here. Reason being this is semi-seized. So we're going to put a new kit in, comes with all the seals. And what we'll need is obviously that, some rubber lube, a scouring pad, some wet and dry. This is a little measuring tool that I made to put the piston back in the right place. That goes on the airline, hopefully that will pop the piston out. If not, we'll have to go down a different road. Little screwdriver, hammer and a punch to get the pins out. Okay, so that's the pads. You can see in here, look, see where this is all split? That's where water's ingressed, and that would have rusted all in there, and that's why it's semi-seized. We freed these off the other day, just by putting some penetrating all in there and working backwards and forwards, but obviously we want them correct. So, and this is the tool. You can see these little notches here, look. In there, and they're quite important to be in the right place, which is why I made this little tool up. And they, you can see that's slightly off. That needs to turn ever so slightly. So that edge hits on that edge, and that edge hits on that edge. So it needs to turn. You can see what's going on there. And this has to be flush with the very bottom of the caliper where the pad would sit. So anyway, that's what we're looking for. So next thing. Pop the piston out. And then we do that. Put some air in. We need to clamp off the other piston. In actual fact, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to see which one comes out first. All right. Hit the rags so we don't get brake fluid everywhere. See what happens. That's what I was hoping for. Nice pop. Now in this workshop we say brake fluid is not your friend. Reason being it's paint stripper effectively. So we always contain everything. So you can see this one's actually not too bad. You can see the rust. And that's what grips on the seal in here. That's what seizes them up. So we'll be cleaning all these up now and then popping them back together with new seals. So that's got the worst of the muck off. So there's still a little bit there. That's okay because that doesn't, the piston doesn't go in that far. So this is an important little trick, this one. Scouring pad. The reason why I do this part is so the piston doesn't grip on its little rubber seal, and then the pad returns, or the piston returns too far into the caliper. You have to keep pumping it out every time because you're a really bad brake pedal. But by smoothing it off with a scouring pad, that all reduces and pretty much disappears. Very important trick I learned over the years. It works, so that's why I do it. Although we don't do these these days really. This is just for you guys. A little video to see how it's done if you're interested in doing it. Don't skimp on this bit. Really put a lot of effort in. You'll regret it later if you don't. Right, so I'll probably do a lot more than that for the video purposes. I don't want to bore you. We want a nice shiny, shiny surface. These pistons, to be honest, are not in the best condition. If I knew that, then I probably would have just bought pistons as well. But again, this is for a video anyway, to show the principle. So that's that bit. Next bit is pulling all this apart. And all that old stuff. Old seal comes out. So that's all gone. So this is quite rusty in here. So I'm just going to clean it up as best I can. On the outside. There's a slightly coarser piece of paper just to cut through this rusty ring on the outside here. Right, okay, so we cleaned it up. I've got a rubber lube in there. Same on our piston nut. So what we need to make sure we do is we need to make sure we get these notches in the correct place. Okay, so we want to be, I'm just going to go for a guide by the other side roughly. That helps a little bit. I can really see it. That one's gone a little bit. So anyway, I think we're kind of going to be that way, roughly, something like that. So just literally just should pop in quite nicely like that. Lovely. Right, so I'm going to push that in a bit further. Now this is the important piece. My little piece of plastic here. So this needs to go flush to the end of that, and then these notches you can see, so it looks like that needs a little bit of a turn, I think. Let's see this side. Yeah, it definitely needs a turn, so get some grips. Too far. And that's that. You can see that. So that is there. So that's in the right position. So let's keep all the dirt out and put this seal on. I'm going to do the other side now. So I've cut the piston off, so when I put some air into here, it should pop this one out. Obviously we don't want this one popping out, so we've just done that. So again, plenty of rags so we don't get brake fluid everywhere. And a bit of air. Hopefully, and there will pop. There we go, lovely. So that's that one. You see this one's slightly worse. This is what seizes them up. I've seen them much worse than that, so that's quite nice. Okay, good. So, nice bit of rag. Throw the piston all over us. Okay. So, same procedure. Clean this up. In fact, I'll go on the wire wheel first and make that nice and shiny. Most important thing is a scouring pad. Stop the piston returning, giving you a bad pedal. So again, don't skimp on how much you do this. Very important. So it doesn't grip the new seal. It keeps trying to put it all the way in the back into the brake caliper, and then every time you press the brake pedal you're effectively having to push the piston out much further than you should, which gives you a very bad brake pedal. Okay. So there we go. Nice and shiny. Me and my brother, we like shiny. So that's that. That one on the side. Right, I'm going to clean this up now. Get the old seal out. Seal out. Give that a bit of coarse paper. I'm not actually doing the piece where the piston goes in, I'm just taking the rust off the very outer edge, which is exposed. When the outer seal that keeps all the dirt out is obviously perished. So you don't want anything catching on there. So get as much of that off as possible. Okay, using some wet and dry to clean the rest of it out. Now we're going inside where the piston goes. Make sure there's no bits of surface rust come off. Let's see what that's like. Okay, good. So now I'm going to get rid of all this dirt and stuff I don't want. Okay, right, so now we can put it back together. So, first thing, we seal. Make sure that's obviously got all the way in. Round. So that's good. Side of my finger, I find that easier to get to the hard to reach places. There, same one here. All the way round. Okay, and again, so it's all about the notches. Very important. You can see there. So this is almost like machined off. So that's the lower point. This is the higher point. And again, this is where my measuring tool comes in. So we have to make sure that's in the right way. So I'm judging roughly from the one I did last time. It's about there. Roughly about there. Let's see a bit better this way. Something like. I'll go with that, I think, for the minute. Should just slide in. And it's gone straight in. Okay, so that's going a little bit too far than I wanted it to because I've got to manipulate it unless I'm lucky. And this fits. Slightly out. Right, so in this case, what I should do is clamp this so that one doesn't come out. Just going to try and control a little bit of press there just to bring that piston out a bit. I hold it so it doesn't come all the way. Just a little bit so I can control it. Okay. So now I can get my grips on there, give that a slight tweak. So just bang on. So touch. Like that. Over there. So I can see that's got to turn slightly. Can you see that? It's got to turn ever so slightly. Try that. Bang on. Perfect. So you can see that's flush. Nearly flush actually. That's not so bang on, is it? So which way we're going to go. A bit more touch. Not quite there. Okay, it's good enough. So that's pretty much flush there. And then we're on our little notches there. So that's in the right orientation. So now, what I 10. So let's get any of the excess grease off, because we're going to put this outer dust cover on now. We don't need grease on the outside. If we have got grease on the outside, that dust cover is going to constantly want to slip off of that edge. It's tricky enough anyway. So this is our dust seal. The other ones were perished. So all these come in the kit. That's the reason why I like to get rid of the grease, so that's just trying to pop off all the time. Seems to be staying. Okay. Alright, here's that one done. Just push the piston at the end. That's it. That's one brake caliper with new brake seals. That'll work just as good as a new caliper. Okay, so just making some new brake parts, making this one a bit better because it's a little bit wobbly. So this is how I do them. To get the length to about there. I'm going to make 2 of these, so I'm going to use this as my length. And these are why we're changing them, because they were copper brake pipes originally, and the unions on the end they grab and you can't undo them. So we're just going to make new ones. I'm sure some will be interested in this. Okay, so our links, I'm going to flare the ends, use this machine here. That end. Sticking for some reason today. So that is that end. So now we need to make that be better than that.
Brings beloved icons to life in your home. Couple more things, just in a cuddly plush toys, awesome costumes, cool collectibles, character-themed fabrics and fun home decor. We've got it all. Find the perfect
Yeah. What's that?
t-shirts and more.
Tweak that a little bit.
Officially licensed merchandise. Visit Amazon.co.uk.
It's on the car. Right. Definitely a good call. Put that brake pipe on first. That started. Tweak. Tweak in the finish, make sure that's not touching. Good jobs really.